Hello, my name is Carmen from Switch on Health and welcome to tonight's free webinar. If you're watching this live, please do stick around for the comments and questions at the end. We are excited to announce that there will be a draw for a $50 credit from us here at Switch on Health for one lucky attendee. And Julie also has another prize I'll let her tell you about for another lucky attendee. So if you are watching this on YouTube, you are welcome to pop any questions you may have into the comments box below, and we promise to get back to you. Also, if you're watching on YouTube and you like what we do, please do click on the subscribe button, because the more subscribers we have, the more we can offer, and we look forward to offering you more. So, whether you are a student practitioner preparing to enter the industry or already building your business and looking to attract more clients, this presentation is for you. So, you will be introduced tonight to the Business Connect program, a free and valuable resource that supports practitioners at every stage of their journey. Discover how to use social media effectively to reach your ideal audience, build trust, and grow your practice authentically. And walk away with practical tips, inspiration, and a clearer direction for your business. So, this session tonight is presented by Julie Humphris, a fellow student and experienced business advisor and business wellness success coach. Julie works with small business owners to help them navigate the ins and outs of business with confidence. Her support and insightful approach makes this a must-attend event filled with useful tips, strategies, and real-world guidance. So thank you so much for joining us, Julie, and giving up your evening to present to us. And I will hand over to you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and speak to everybody. It's lovely to be part of the Switch on Health community, and an even greater opportunity and privilege to be able to present on what I do in another aspect of my business, and to introduce you all to the Business Connect program. So yes, I'm Julie Humphris. I am what we call a business life guide. One of my businesses is helping small business owners navigate wellness and balance for success. And I'm also a business advisor through the state government program Business Connect. Business Connect, this is me. Business Connect is available in definitely no New South Wales, that's one I'm part of, Queensland and Victoria. It is a free service funded by state government where you get 8 hours per financial year for free with a business advisor. And we can speak on every part of business with you. That's everything from creating a business plan through to understanding your digital spaces, your business viability, financials, all the fabulous areas of business that you might feel a bit stuck on, or you want a bit of guidance with. Sometimes when we first go to start a business, not knowing where to start, what you need to do, what regulations are out there, and what sort of help you can get. So we can help also introduce you to other programs that can help you with your business, and just give you that ongoing support. We're great for accountability if you're setting goals around where you'd like your business to be. My other business, business wellness support programs, run all year, and I present on keeping balance in your life while running a business. It's very easy to get wrapped up in business and to find that businesses become all-encompassing and the other areas of your life are suffering because you're investing so much in the business. So it's good to be able to keep that balance around being a business owner and also being able to balance out home life, your own personal development, your finances, and your own health and wellness. I'm also a regenerative farmer, so I've got lots of different hats. We live on a self-sufficient farm. We grow a whole array of our own foods and herbs, and create all of our own remedies and food products on the farm, which is a fabulous way to live. It's an amazing thing to be able to balance the two spaces. Yeah, so that it's a fantastic space to be in. Of course, also studying. Myself and my 14-year-old are both studying with Switch on Health, which is fabulous and a great experience and supports what we already do. On the screen here, you'll also see this is a business life balance card deck that I've created after seeing huge numbers of clients and always seeing the gap with um, not being able to balance, not being able to focus. The whole day feels overwhelming when you're in business. There's clients to deal with. There's also trying to keep on top of your advertising, maybe your social media spaces, your website, regulations, having to, try to be on top of your maintaining your points so you can stay accredited. There's all these sorts of areas that take over, and sometimes it's so overwhelming you can't do anything. So I created this card deck specifically as a focus task each day. And so you can shuffle the deck and pull one card, and that's just the fabulous thing that you focus on for the day in your business. It covers all the different pillars. So there's things for your business, there's things for personal life, there's things around mentoring and supporting others. So it's a fabulous tool, and that's the deck that I'll be giving one away tonight to a live attendee. So that's fantastic. They've only just come out this year, and I also have a book coming out which is all around business wellness. So this is the next screen is a bit of a picture of the other half of me, which is this is our beautiful farm. This is where we do all our homesteading, permaculture, holistic management. We run workshops on herbals, run workshops on fermented foods, sourdough, cheese making, animal husbandry with kindness. So yeah, this is the other part of what myself and my family do. It balances out beautifully without the rest of our life and create it's a gorgeous atmosphere to sit in. So what we're going to do tonight is talk a little bit about social media and the Business Connect program and how this can help. So the Business Connect program, you get 8 hours. Now that can be live one-on-one, it can be face-to-face, it can be on a Zoom call, it can be on a phone call. And we usually start with asking you all about your business and what it looks like and what you want it to look like. And then how we can actually help you to get there with the skills we have and help you guide through maybe some of those blocks you're finding. Or if you're just beginning and it's a startup, we can help get you in the right direction from the beginning. So social media is the thing that we're going to have a little bit of a look at this evening and give you some hints and tips around and why it's actually so important. A lot of us don't actually like social media very much, but it is still a necessary part of business. This is really where we're doing the majority of our advertising now. For anybody who remembers print advertising, it's still there. But it does have a cost. You can't be guaranteed who you're reaching. You can't really research that very well. Whereas in social media, we've got a lot of access to our analytics, which will help us shift and pivot till we're reaching the majority of the people we actually want as our customers. So here's some lovely facts about why social media is so important. There's 5.04 billion users globally. That is 62.3% of the world's population are using social media. So this is a space that we need to be in. There's an average of 2.25 hours per day the average person spends in social media. I would say there's a lot of people who spend a lot more and a lot of people who spend a lot less, but there's your average. So again, important for us to be there. Facebook has 2.9 billion active followers or active users. It's still number one for reach, especially with the 30 plus age groups. So when we're having a discussion around social media, we're always thinking about it from the perspective of our target market. It's incredibly important to work out which platform you need to be on based on who you actually want to have as a client. Not all spaces are created equal, and so we don't actually need to be in every single space. It's the spaces that our target market are on are the ones that we need to be in. So you don't have to do all the places, it's picking the best places. YouTube still has 2.5 billion users. Now, YouTube was actually the first social media platform and is still one of the biggest, obviously. And our brains actually sit differently with YouTube. So when our clients are looking for us or our followers are looking at us in Facebook, we behave quite differently. We're there for quick information. We're there for a short time. We want fast reels. If your reel goes on for too long, then we're not hanging around. We're straight off that. But when we go to YouTube, we have an expectation that we're quite happy to sit there for 10 to 15 minutes watching that video content. So knowing how your potential clients want to access their information and how they want to look at it can also help you decide which platform to choose to be on. Instagram has 2.2 billion users. Instagram is very much a feminine space. So a lot of women enjoy Instagram. It when Instagram first came out, it was a lot less confrontational than some of the Facebook spaces. So Instagram was a great alternative for those who really enjoy just the images and a bit of a lighter tone. TikTok has 1.8 billion users. It is the fastest growing for small business engagement. Now, statistically, however, it hasn't related and transferred to income at this point. It's one definitely to watch and to be aware of and think about how you might be able to engage in that space if that is where your target market is. Typically, if your target market is perhaps 45 and older, they're going to be far less likely to be on TikTok. But if your target market is in their 20s or younger, then yes, TikTok is definitely a space that you would want to explore. LinkedIn has 1 billion users. It is powerful for business to business and for professional services. LinkedIn, for anybody who doesn't know what LinkedIn is, it began very much as a resume space in a way, like your business card in virtual space. So that's very much where professionals will put things around their qualifications and their business and career journey. It's fabulous if you're looking for your target market that does sit in a professional space. Also for yourself, just to have your yourself there. So if people in that space are looking for somebody to provide them with a service, they're very likely to look at LinkedIn. Also, as somebody who then may want to be employed, um, definitely when you get interviewed for anything, people like to check you out on social media. And if you have a LinkedIn profile, it's where they can validate some of the things you've told them that you do or have done in the past. Okay, there are a lot of changes in social media. It's huge. From when, say, for example, Instagram began, Instagram has changed enormously. The analytics have certainly changed, and I'll explain to you a little bit about why that's happened. But Instagram in particular began with very stylized, very, very polished spaces. A quote and then a photo, then a quote, then a photo, and it was very much sell space. How we like to interact with Instagram now has changed. And so how we use that space now changes. So when we used to see that a lot, people have decided they don't really like that space. They don't really want to be there to be sold to consistently. So now we're seeing that people are really preferring a more authentic page and more authentic tiles. So we're really seeing a shift away from the over polished, over stylized into more relatable content. Reels and video content has become really important and more elevated. And that is actually behind the scenes reasons. So a lot of social media platforms, they gain their income through advertising and through investment because investors and advertisers want to be in the spaces most popular. They want to see that people are there more often and for longer periods of time. So when we are scrolling through our social media, it's easy enough for us when we're scrolling through just flat posts, one like single image posts, to put that phone down, go and do something and come back. However, When we start looking at reels and videos, how our brain works shifts. And so we begin to sort of sink into that space as though we were watching TV. And because they pull up video after video after video or reel after reel, depending on what we're engaging with, we actually sit in that social media space much longer. So investors and advertisers want to be where people are engaged for longer periods of time. So hence, social media platforms have made reels and videos more visible to get more investment, to keep us there longer. So as business owners or future business owners, it's important to understand that and to use that to our advantage in a way. The analytics are there. We can create very short reels and videos, and that will gather engagement. It's actually important to go across a few different types of posts, not just reels and videos. So there is flat posts, which is a single image. There are carousels, which is more than one image in a post. It might be 5, 6, 10, however many. And that's also to increase engagement. And there are videos and there's polls and there's various other sorts of content. So it's important to have a good mix of each of them. And looking back into your analytics in the back end of your social media to look at what's getting the most engagement. So engagement is not the likes. Your engagements, or now they've termed it interactions, are actually how many people have interacted with the content that you have. So when you have a business page, you'll see at the bottom of one of your posts, there'll be blue writing, see insights and ads. And in that insight space, you can see how many people have liked, how many people have looked at, how many people have viewed. And then you can go even deeper and look at the demographics of who's actually looked at that post. That could be male, female, it can be followers, non-followers, and it can show you the age groups. So that's really important to reflect on, because if your target market group is, and your niche is perhaps, say, perimenopausal women, making sure that who's engaging with those posts is in that age group is important, because if it's not happening, it's a good opportunity to have a look at how you can shift what content you're creating and how we can shift into that target market to capture that audience more readily. We're also loving seeing more genuine content. So, like I said earlier, less overstyled and a bit more honest. Integration of shopping features has occurred in social media now. It's not as a trusted space for purchases. We definitely prefer still to go to a link to your website. A website has the same amount of trust for us as a physical shop front. So we're happier to trust and spend our money online in that space. But the integration of shopping features in social media is gaining traction and is getting more use. So it's something great to think about in the future. If you're selling product or you'd like to sell product, then there is that option. Building a brand community. So part of what we're doing when we're on social media is increasing brand awareness. So not every ad is going to get you a paying client. However, what it will do is start to build trust. So when we're seeing a brand regularly, then we're more likely to think of that brand when we do need what that brand sells. And we will automatically trust that because we see it again and again. So sometimes posting and sometimes Facebook and Facebook ads are there more for building recognition of your brand and building more followers and people engaging with you in social media space, so that when they are ready, it's you that they're going to engage with. We're loving more authentic, small influencers now and far less of celebrity influencers. We know that quite often they're paid. And so we feel more trusting when we have somebody who is small, that may have their own business or may not, that have used your services or your product, that are going to tell us how much they loved it. There's a lot more trust with small influencers. There's a lot more AI in the background of social media now, and therefore we're getting a lot more of those analytics. There's pros and cons to that. From a business perspective, it's there, so it's good for us to tap into to look at and work out how we can use that best within our own business. Social and environmental values are really important, especially when we're in this industry. This is a great place to connect. It's a great place to share what your values are and how you are showing those values in the actions you're taking within your business and within your community. That will align with your target market, and they will also want to connect with you more so because they feel like you understand them and they align with your values. So remember to review your analytics and your engagement regularly. Sometimes it's the smallest tweak you can make to suddenly be getting more viewers who are in the space you want them to be. If you are, say, for example, a local only business, you only want to have local clients, and you go into your social media analytics and you look down into the countries, and you've got a lot of people that are engaging with you that say are overseas, well, then maybe again, it's another opportunity to look at what you're posting and why that might be happening. You may have friends and relatives that are overseas, so that explains it. Or maybe you've got people on there that are using your page to spam. So it's always good to sort of think about, the numbers of followers are lovely, the engagement is lovely, but is it the right engagement? And is it the right followers for you and what you're wanting for your business, especially when you're looking at business growth? Social media is all about how we use it. You can be on social media and be posting, 3 times a day. Please don't. Australian audiences actually don't like that. We find that they unfollow you very quickly. In Australia, 3 times a week is perfectly acceptable for you to post. And if you really want to go over the top, you can do once a day. But when we're thinking about how we interact with our own social media, if I'm scrolling through my feed and all I'm seeing is you and your content constantly, we're more likely to unfollow you because it does feel quite spammy. So thinking about how your target market actually like to interact and how often they like to interact is fabulous. There is a bit of a movement which is more American based around posting 3 times a day. Most of us do not have time for that in any case, but also our market here is not open to that. So it's always good when you're looking at different things we're reading is to bring it back to what does our audience want? What does our target market actually want to see from us in social media space? And your content is going to be very important there. So we definitely want to see education, especially within what we do, drip feeding small amounts of content that aren't overwhelming to people who want to learn more about what we're doing and this sort of world, and also entertainment. Everybody loves something a little bit fun. The top 3 engaging posts, actually, which is really interesting, is babies, baby animals, and the business owner's face. So some people cringe at that because we don't like taking our own photos and having ourselves there. But it is incredibly important because that's what's creating community and connection. And it's very much ancient brain stuff. So the ancient brain thing is, this is how we learnt pre-written language, is that we would tell stories. And so story is, as you would see in social media and advertising marketing space, is getting a lot of traction, becoming more popular. We all want to know who it is we're going to go see, and that's going to help us build trust. But we're going to remember your story. So if we think back to the fairy tales of, the deep dark woods, and those stories that would be told to children, it was for a reason, and that was so they wouldn't go somewhere that wasn't safe. Because we all know, anyone who has children, as soon as we say to children, don't go in there, that's dangerous, what's the first thing they're going to want to do? Whereas with story, that sits with us better and longer. It's a little bit scary. But if we think about that for social media space, telling somebody your story within the space that you're comfortable in is really going to get them more invested in your business and wanting to support you. And that's incredibly important. If they've got choice between 2 practitioners, they know a bit about your story, they're going to instantly feel more comfortable with you if they're your target market. So again, social media space lets us do that in very small spaces, like very small increments. Okay. So social media is actually all about the customer. All of our business is actually all about the customer. Anything we want to do in business needs to come back to who is the target market? Where are they? What are their interests? What are their patterns? What do they like to see? So if they love to see education, if they love to see entertainment, if they want to know more about you, that's fantastic. You know, what other things are they interested in that relate to what you're doing as a business? And are we understanding our audience and their behavior? So there have been a lot of changes again with how we interact with social media and how we interact digitally. So if we think about once upon a time, at the end of the day, you know, kids are off to bed, you've had dinner, you sit down, you think, I'll unwind. Our audience will be grabbing their phone. And, you know, a few years back, we would sit there, open Facebook, and click on all the posts. Now there's so much content, and how our behavior has actually changed with how we use social media is very important to understand because of when we want to post. So what we do now with behavior is we sit down at the end of the day, we get the phone, and we don't even open the first post. The first thing we do is start scrolling. And then we wait. And then when our finger feels fine and our brain starts to slow, we will stop. And then we will start looking at posts. So most people I say that to then start to think about what they do. And that's usually what everybody's doing. So when we look at analytics and it says that our customer is most active at 8:30 p.m. in the evening on a Friday or a Thursday, whatever it might be, we actually don't want to post when they're first being engaged because we will be the first post and they're going to go straight past us down until they feel a bit more comfortable. At this point in time, that's about 15 to 20 minutes gap. So if they're most active at 8:30, what we really want to do is be posting at 10 past or quarter past 8 so that they will see it, that we'll be in the comfort zone for them to stop and start looking. And that's always going to shift and change. And that's why it's always great to keep up to date and consider how your customer would be interacting with you in that social media space. So then we can adjust our behavior and still be able to have a lot of visibility. Looking at your inspiration analysis. So part of this is thinking about who do you really feel inspired by that is in social media within the industry? And if you look at what kind of interactions are they having? So have they got a lot of followers? Are people interacting a lot with their content? What do you love about their content? Usually, we are actually our own target market. So when you think about the customer that you want, which is your target market, and here's probably where I should explain the difference between a customer and a target market is quite big. So a target market is not your customer. The target market is who you want to have as customer. So I normally explain that by telling people think of your favorite customer, your absolute favorite customer or client, and think about why they're your favorite. And is it because they book regularly, they follow up with you, they turn up on time, they don't, you know, they're quite happy to pay what you're worth, those sorts of questions. If, you know, they're usually why they are your target market. Niching is a little bit different to a target market, and niching would be taking that target market and then being very specific about perhaps an area that they need assistance in. So it could be your target market of women 40 to 45, and your niching could be into then perimenopause. So thinking about that customer, that target market, where where are they, when are they, and why do they want to interact? How are we showing them also then that our page aligns with their values so that they want to be there? So it's really good to have a look at other people who inspire you and have a think about what they're doing really well, and can we integrate something similar into our own space? It's always good to keep up with trends. So short reels, longer reels, shorter posts are definitely more popular. It can be very easy to get caught up in writing a novel in a post. And that's pretty much what we don't want. Because we all know that when we see that ourselves, we open it, think, oh, this looks like a good read and it's a mile long. Typically we're not reading the rest. We're giving you a like and moving on. So what is actually a better trend that we're seeing now is a small amount of content with a link to read the full article on your website. Now, there's a few reasons you would want to do that. Number one, you can have as long a article as you like in your website, but also we're moving and funneling people from your social media space to your website, which is the space of trust, which is where they're more likely to book an appointment with you or buy your product. It also helps SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is when somebody is searching for your service and you want to be as high up that list on page one as you can possibly be. And what the SEO likes is seeing that your website is popular. So there's a lot of traffic going into that space. So yes, a smaller amount of content on your social media post with a link to your blog. And quite often when we write a blog or an article on our website, we can make, gosh, a dozen posts out of that one blog throughout, say, a year and keep sending people back to that space. Looking at what day and time to post, very important as we spoke about, and how are they interacting? So if you're making reels and videos, you can actually have a look in your analytics and see how long typically somebody is engaged. Now, our attention span in social media is pretty short. Mostly in spaces like Facebook and Instagram. It's very short. If we're getting people engaging with our posts for 4 seconds, that's really good. If you're getting something a lot longer, that's fabulous. You're really targeting your market there. But typically it's 4 seconds. 2 seconds, you got 2 seconds to grab them for them to want to watch more. And so you can have a look at all that in your engagement and you can see, or in your interactions, and see how that's progressing and potentially changing over time. Using our posts when we're talking around story. So we're talking about, here's a photo of you, here's a photo about why you love what you do. That's actually going to get the most engagement out of nearly every other post you're going to have. When that happens, strategically, we then want to use that to gather that audience, because when people engage or interact with the post, you're going to continue to come up on their feed. At the moment, it's around 2 weeks. If they don't re-engage with one of your other posts, you will probably drop off. And we've all experienced that, right? So if we've been, say, following a page that sells shoes, and we've been on there and we like it and we used to see them a lot. And then 6 months later, we're thinking about how, I haven't seen anything from them for quite some time. It's actually because you haven't engaged, and you may need to go back to that page and like another post for them to then continue to come up on your feed. So it's always good to think about what you're posting, when and why. And if you're posting a high engagement post, leveraging that in the next post. So if you've just created a high engaging post and now you have 100 and something people engaged, you're going to come up on that extra 100 and something people's Facebook feed or social media feed. So then is a prime time within about 3 or 4 days to post your call to action post. So a call to action post is an action post that gets your audience to do something. You might like to direct them to your webpage so they can sign up to your newsletter. You might like them to buy a product. You might like them to book a service. So we want to be there when the biggest audience is seeing your posts. So strategically placing the posts in the right order is really going to help you increase what you want to get from your social media and engagement with clients. Okay, building trust. This is huge. And as far as business goes now, and with marketing, it's a really interesting thing to think about what people actually want from us. Once upon a time, especially within what we do in the industry, as far as health, once upon a time there'd be somebody at the front of a room with a very loud voice speaking all about how they have all the answers. And you should work with me because I'm the expert. What we've found is that's really shifted in marketing. And now what we've found is what people actually want is a guide. So the best analogy is you are not you're not Luke Skywalker in the story. Your client is the hero. Your client is Luke Skywalker, and you are Yoda. So you are the person who's going to jump in and help them get from where they are now and where they want to be. And so in our marketing, that's what we're finding is getting the most response, is showing people how you can help them get from where they are to where they want to be, but really they're the hero. So we see that with building trust. There's a lot more trust in that space. Now, when that comes to social media, things are going to build a lot more trust, are going to be things like replying to comments and to personal messages. It shows that you're approachable and it shows that you're responsive. Now, you don't want to be on there all day, every day, responding to every single tiny thing. So you might want to set yourself some time blocks during the day where you pop in and check. Or if you have alerts turned on, that you'll see those and you can respond. If you're not responding for 1-2 weeks, that's a little bit of a problem because people don't feel heard and don't feel seen. So the next point, people feel seen and valued. So this builds brand loyalty and word of mouth. As soon as you respond back and say, that's a great question, thanks for your response, whatever it might be, give them a like, give them a bit of love, give them a response. And we feel like we've now made a connection. And now that we're part of your business story. Posting regularly. So what happens quite often is if I know I do it myself, if I go to a page and you've done a post and I've seen that, that's great. And then I look at your previous post and I see that you made that previous post a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, I'm actually less likely to follow you. And for a lot of people, that's actually quite subconscious. So if we're seeing we're not going to be getting something from you regularly, why would I follow your page? So the regular posting, that consistency is actually really important. People need to feel like they're getting value from you. You showing up in stories and engaging with your followers builds recognition and familiarity. So they feel far more comfortable in asking you the questions online. The more people who see you, the more they remember you. So we know that in any kind of marketing, the more that they see your logo, the more confidence it builds, and then the more trust it builds, and the more likely they are to buy or book your service. Sharing your why, your journey, your challenges and wins creates emotional connection. We start to feel like we can understand and relate to you. So your why is actually, again, in marketing, it's one of the biggest things is why you're doing what you do. What's your really deep passion and love for why you chose this? And that can definitely entail part of your journey. You never have to share more than what you want to. Okay. It's just little tiny bits, but people are going to find that more relatable, more human, more part of your experience. Your challenges, if you just accidentally broke something, that's okay to show. We all do it. And your wins done in quite a I'd almost say humble, but not quite, in a nice, gentle way. We're really honored to have been asked to participate in, etc., is a great way because you're giving that response to the opportunity you've had, but it's not necessarily salesy. And it creates the emotional connection because they watch your journey. For instance, we have a farm. We have a farm page. So our farm is called Blue Marble Farm. And we have, local, we're very micro local. It's to do with our ethics and our commitment to environmental sustainability. But it's interesting that I can go and present something somewhere else or in the local community, and I'll have somebody randomly walk up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, you're Julie." Um, and saying, "Yes, that's right." And they will tell me all about how they're loving our posts and our feed. Oh, how's your, name one of my children, or the cow, how's that calf going? Oh, I saw that you've got your beetroot, whatever it is. And then they walk away and they haven't introduced themselves. So I have no idea who they are and what their story is. But they've actually obviously made such a beautiful friendship and connection with us from their side of the screen that they feel so comfortable to come and have a full conversation with us straight up. So that's a really creating that story that they feel that they fit into. So people don't connect to products, they connect to stories. And I often run storytelling workshops. And in that, I tell a beautiful story about a lady who creates Indian curry paste from her home. And at the beginning of that, I might have 50 people in a room, and I ask them all, I show a photo of her and ask them who would like to buy this curry paste. And I might get one, maybe two hands go up. And then when I actually tell the story of the business and there is an emotional connection in there, at the end of that story, I ask again, who wants to buy her curry paste? And every single hand in that room goes up every single time. So when those people come to that shelf and there's her curry paste or somebody else's, you can guarantee, even if it costs a little more, they're going with hers. And they're going with hers because they feel part of that story and they want to support that story. So then again, when we're looking at what we do, people want to feel trusted in us. And it is a very special place of privilege that we sit in when we're speaking with clients about their health. It's very vulnerable for them. So we do want to have, your professionalism, but we do want to share some stories so they feel very comfortable in your space and not going to feel judged. So social media can help us do that in fabulous ways. And using it in the right way is going to be what's going to build your audience. So where and when? So identifying your target market is key. And I would say it is the number one most important thing in business all over. Yes, you're training fabulous and you've got your qualifications and you know what you're doing. That's incredibly important. But knowing who you actually want as a client is really important to get your marketing right. And it's really important to get your social media space right. If you don't know who you're talking to, they will not feel connected to you. And you won't know what content to post on or how to make it look. So if we think about, for example, a nice obvious one is, say somebody had a clothing store and they were selling to over 50s women's fashion. And all of your social media has 18-year-olds dressed in those clothes. Your audience is probably not going to relate to that. And they will, scroll straight past because they don't feel represented or seen. And they don't feel that you're speaking specifically to them in your visual or written language. So everything we do, our logo, our flyers, our social media, our website, has all got to speak specifically to our target market. Then when you've got that, we're researching where they are. So you can Google that, you can AI that, like where is this age group most in social media? When are they there? And what are they really engaging in and with? It's incredibly important. So you're starting in a good space. You're not starting somewhere where you've got social media and you can't understand why you have no followers and nobody's liking your content. It could just be that you need some tweaking. And then time your posts for prior to the recommended, as we spoke about earlier, that 15 to 20 minutes before their most high amount of time, the most engagement time that they're in on that social media platform, so that by the time they're ready to stop and look, that's where they hit on your post. Okay, when you come to social media, with all the information that I've just given you, the important thing is for you to set some goals. So know what you actually want from your social media. So do you want to increase your followers? Do you want to increase your brand awareness? Do you want to increase your engagement rate? Enhance the consistency of your posting? Are you wanting to diversify the types of posts that you're making? Do you want to improve your hashtag strategy? And there's a whole nother space around hashtag strategy and how that's shifted enormously in the last couple of years. Still definitely very relevant, but we use them very differently now. Expanding reach through collaborations, promoting, sharing your content if you want other people to share it out, monitoring your analytics and then pivoting your direction, and creating a strategy. It's great to have social media, but if you don't have a plan and a strategy, it's very hit and miss. And so, therefore, your engagement and your interaction will also be hit and miss. So, creating a strategy as a year plan and a month plan is really important to help you with the consistency. Okay, bloom where you are planted and believe in the magic of the season. Embrace where you are now and that you have the ability to shift and that we can move you into other spaces. If you need one-to-one help, I'm going to have my phone number on the next screen here. You are most welcome to ring or text me. And if you're in New South Wales, we can set up to have a phone call or a Zoom meeting to chat about where you're at and what you need help with, even if you don't have a business yet. Even if it's a startup or a business idea, we can start chatting now. You get 8 hours with me by June 30, and you can have another 8 come the 1st of July. So essentially, you're going to be able to get 16, squeeze it in that way. And I've got my email address on there. If you like to check out my website, it's just Julie Humphris. There's no E. Secret. So my website's there on the screen, juliehumphris.com.au. We have the card decks on there. We have our different wellness programs on there, and some blogs and other information about keeping well when you're a business owner. So thanks very much for listening and learning all about social media. I hope it was really helpful. I hope you got something from it, something new from it. If you're usually in social media space already, or if you need a hand, just reach out. I'm happy to help.
Julie, that was amazing. Thank you so much. It was very, very helpful. I'm sure we've all been really inspired. So much useful information. It's all relevant and yeah, really, really good. So if you're watching this live, we're going to stop the recording in a moment and open it up for questions. And remember that there will be the draw for the $50 credit as well as Julie's amazing card deck. So if you're watching the recording, thank you for watching till the end and learn more with Switch On Health.